Yeah, I'm Sunder Katwala, I'm director of the think tank British Future. To open up the debates that people want to have, feel we need to have about difficult issues that people feel could break up our society, issues of identity, immigration, integration. We want to show that it's possible to have constructive public debates about that aren't polarised and don't split people apart. I think controversy's good, I think argument's good, I think we're a democracy, people fall out in a democracy, they have different ideas. I think what we want to say is, you know, we're a diverse society now in Britain, we've changed a lot. Actually, some people really celebrate the way that we've changed. Some people are really deeply unsettled about it. Whichever side of that fence you're on, we think you've got a responsibility, all of us have got a responsibility to make sure that works. So we want to make sure that people are interested in the constructive debate about the future of the country they want to see. So we'd like people to feel more confident about the country. Some people feel really confident about it. We all feel quite confident about it at moments, but at other times a lot of people feel very anxious about it because of the sheer scale of economic pressure that people feel under, because of the sense of the scales that people feel my country's changed. I don't know if I was asked about it, I don't know if I like it. And if you're over 55, you'll have experienced a lot of change in Britain, and you might find it quite unsettling, whereas somebody's child or grandchild will have grown up with what their parents might see as a lot of change as the new normal. And so that's one reason that we find that people under 25 just have very different views actually about race and diversity, because they've never known anything else. And they'll take a view, if someone says put it all back, that will seem very extreme actually to people in their 20s, because you might as well be saying put it all back to the 18th century or something. This is the only Britain that they've known. So I think there's a hopeful sign there that actually we do have a history of integration. I think we're seeing with, you know, the next generation of people from a Pakistani background. I think they're also difficult issues to negotiate, because the current generation have grown up in a time of massive international political pressure, domestic tensions as well around the 2001 riots, and also, you know, it's always hard, I think, to integrate into a society where you feel that some people are saying we're not sure if you'll ever belong. And I think what the Pakistani community in Britain needs to do is stake its full and equal right to be British while retaining the cultural heritage it wants to change, and the next generation won't make the same choices their parents did. Hopefully we can do it, but it doesn't happen by magic, and it only happens, I think, if all sides of that question work to make it happen, so that people are us and their children and their grandchildren are just as much us as everyone else. People mix, people meet, we think that moderates opinions. We think people find that they can work together with people that they thought they disagreed with. I think it's important to get around the country, get to communities, hear what people feel about these issues. Also, there's quite a lot of obviously national level discussion about these issues in the media, in politics and so on, and a lot of the mood of local communities. So it's actually quite important to engage at the national level as well as at the local level, but to try and be, aware of the need to connect. People are really interested in the question of how we live together. And we've got a multi-ethnic, multi-faith society in which there are many faiths and people of no faith. And the question is, can we agree the rules of how we're getting along? Freedom of religion, I think, is an absolute fundamental right of British society, as is the freedom not to believe. And so in a way, you know, having your own rights always depends on respecting the rights of others. What we fall out about then are the boundaries. What does that mean for whether you have faith schools, whether you have single groups? And in a way, I think it's the ability to stay in the room, negotiate and find a compromise. There are always, I think, more moderate people on two sides of a fence who can find an agreement than there are sort of hotheads on either side who are saying, well, we don't want to share the same space, we don't want to live together, we have a particular view of our religion. So I think most people are somewhere in between. You have freedom of religion, you have the absolute right to express your identity, your faith and your religion, but with a respect for the rights of everybody else in terms of their freedom of speech, their freedom to criticise you as well. How you negotiate that around a specific local space is, I think, you've got to find the way that you can share it. I'm quite confident about Britain as a country that can deal with diversity, because compared to other European countries, I think we have more of a sense that you can be Pakistani in terms of your family background, your ethnic heritage, your cultural heritage, and you can be British, and you don't have to choose between the two. I think people find that harder in France and Germany to combine identities and still feel fully part of the main thing. If you go to a place where people feel there might be tensions, it might be Tower Hamlets, it might be Bradford, the question of whether people can do that, be themselves and get on with everyone else in the same place is really important. But whenever I go to a place like, for example, Bradford, you find that the vast majority of people want an inclusive pride they all share and the right to be themselves in their own spaces too, and that's actually the British way of having a shared identity and having tolerance for difference within common rules we all share. I think British Pakistanis, are negotiating that for themselves, but it's not helped if they're stereotyped, I think, from outside in the mainstream media by people who are saying, you'll never be us. And I think the best way is actually to use the values of free speech and argument to state your own claim on the national conversation.